A blanket of sadness. First tonight on Our News Live at 7. The foyer in the House of Assembly filled with grief as the body of Social Services Minister Obi Wilchcombe lie in state. And as the race for Wilchcombe's seat in Parliament heats up, the former PLP leader says he doesn't agree with the party's position. Plus, investigators on Grand Bahama probing the shooting of a 6-year-old in that community. Then in Our News at 7:30. An American woman accused of murder conspiracy back in court. Our News Live at 7 starts right now. We are now hours away from the state funeral of Social Services and Broadcasting and Information Minister Obi Wilchcombe. At this hour, Bay Street expected to be closed to traffic as Junkaners prepare a rush out in his honor. Today, employees of the Ministry of Social Services and the Ministry of Tourism, where he served 2 terms as minister, held a memorial in his honor. All this while his body lied in state today in the foyer of the House of Assembly. These scenes from the House earlier today, as we saw some barricades were already erected in anticipation of tomorrow's service. Motorists using the Bay Street route can expect closures ahead of the state funeral from 9:30 to 10:30 Thursday morning, and again at 1 p.m. until the completion of the last post in Rawson Square. Welcome to Our News Live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kendino Knowles. Obviously a somber day at the House of Assembly as many gathered to pay their respects to the West Grand Bahama and Bimini MP. Berthany McDermott was there and has more emotional reactions.
It was an emotional scene as government officials signed the Book of Condolences for Social Services, Broadcasting and Information Minister Obi Wilchcombe. His family, friends, and colleagues paid respects to the veteran politician in the hallowed halls where he represented the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini for more than 15 years. This is just one step on the road to his state burial Thursday. Former Prime Minister Perry Christie appointed Wilchcombe to his cabinet twice, and he was there to see his friend he never thought he would have to memorialize.
He served me as Prime Minister magnificently, in that he was always there at every turn, at every issue, to support me, to encourage me. And you need that if you are a leader of a political organization.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says he has to be remembered in a permanent way.
I think one of those buildings in Grand Bahama should be named after him. I hope that's done and adopted shortly by the government.
Wilchcombe's impact, however, wasn't only felt in his constituency and among party officials. As Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard explains, his reach crossed party lines. The fellow GBMP says Wilchcombe was never one to hold a grudge.
In the midst of exchanges, he was vibrant and strong. However, when that discussion was over, he sought to find a way to make peace with members opposite. And if he carried grudges, he certainly carried those privately.
But parliamentarians past and present weren't the only ones to pay tribute to Wilchcombe. Parliament Square at times was filled with civilians, clergymen, members of the judiciary, and law enforcement, all looking to pay their respects to the late cabinet minister. Police Commissioner Clayton Fernando says he met with the Social Services Minister recently on new initiatives. One of them sought to assist victims of domestic violence. Fernando making this commitment.
There's a number of initiatives that we put on the table that we had came together on, and I will follow that through because there were some excellent initiatives.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks a lot, Berthany. And as we told you at the top, a memorial service held for Wilchcombe earlier today. We'll get to that in Our News at 7:30. But Wilchcombe's death also making way for the upcoming by-election for his seat. But former Prime Minister Perry Christie says he's not standing behind the PLP's stance that former parliamentarians will not be considered in the upcoming by-election. Christie was asked if he would throw his support behind former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson, whose name was thrown in for consideration. Here's what he had to say.
Don't place me in a position where I have to make that decision at this time. Because right now, based on what the party is saying, he is not under consideration. That the only people under consideration are persons who applied in the last election for that seat. That is the present position of the party. Okay? Now, I disagree with that position, but that is the position.
Now, the PLP issued a statement saying the process to select A candidate for West Grand Bahama and Bimini will happen after Wilchcombe's funeral tomorrow. The former Golden Gates MP recently told the Nassau Guardian that he would accept a nomination in the area.
In a democracy, any one of my colleagues who wants to run, all right, I applaud them for wanting to do what they have to do. Shane is no different. And we'll see what we have to see.
All right, and we've got more on the upcoming by-election coming up in our news at 7:30. Be sure and stay tuned for that. Well, police are trying now to determine what led to a 6-year-old boy being shot in the abdomen at his Grand Bahama home last night. There are little details on the shocking shooting, but what we do know is that around 8 p.m., staff at Rand Memorial Hospital alerted police that the boy was brought in for medical treatment. That's when officers say they learned the child was at home when family members heard a loud bang and found the 6-year-old inside a bedroom with injuries to his abdomen. 44-year-old man, Grand Bahama man that is, who is a resident of Sunken Treasure Drive and a relative of the little boy, is being questioned. Investigators say they found a pistol along with a large quantity of ammunition at the home. And a 24-year-old woman who was arrested after she tried to cash a check for $3,000 that was taken in an armed robbery or from an armed robbery victim has pleaded guilty. Danella Mia Knowles changed her plea in the middle of her trial before Justice Joyanne Ferguson Pratt. Knowles changed the plea to guilty after jurors viewed surveillance footage of her trying to cash the check at the Carmichael branch of First Caribbean International Bank back on July 22nd, 2022. Knowles, who was on bail, has been remanded to prison pending a sentencing hearing that's expected to commence on Friday. Her former co-accused, Mark Roll Jr., maintains he's not guilty to armed robbery and kidnapping. Vashti Glinton testifying that she was accosted by 2 men, one of them armed with a gun, as she was about to open the Coral Harbor food store around 6:20 a.m. on July 22nd. Glinton said the men demanded cash and she gave them $700. Now, after getting the money, the robbers forced Glinton into her husband's truck and took her into bushes where they tied her up and demanded more money. Well, as the world keeps a close eye on what's happening over in Israel, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says his ministry is keeping tabs on Bahamians currently in the Middle Eastern country. Mitchell telling reporters today that when Israel was attacked by Hamas over the weekend, there were at least 3 Bahamians there, all of whom he was in contact with.
One has already left and I think is in Morocco at the moment, and I saw where he did an extensive interview with the press. And there's also a professional basketball player who's having some difficulties trying to get out. We do not have a diplomatic presence in Israel, but the state of Israel has a responsibility to protect non-citizens, and I'm sure they'll follow the international rules on that.
Now, Mitchell says he understands the professional athlete is doing all he can to leave Israel, and the Bahamian Foreign Mission has been working with his family. Hamas militants, which is designated a terrorist organization by the United States, breached a border fence in the Gaza Strip in several places on Saturday and launched the most serious cross-border attack Israel has faced in a generation. More than 1,000 people have been killed in Israel since Saturday. CARICOM released a statement calling for an immediate ceasefire and end of hostilities by all parties. Mitchell is echoing that call.
The complexities of the hostilities in that part of the world are not something that we enter upon. We've called for the cessation of hostilities as soon as possible. We've also called within the context of the CARICOM statement. There's a statement issued by CARICOM. You can go and see that. We support that statement. And the statement essentially is saying that this is a complex matter. We want cessation of the hostilities. There's a 2-state solution which was drawn up in 1967, and that remains the position.
All right, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center with the latest. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Indian, and happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Humid conditions outside the studios, temperatures in the mid-80s, 85 degrees on the cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-southwest at 6 miles per hour. Your feels-like temperature factoring the relative humidity. It feels like a very humid 88. Taking a look at temperatures around the islands tonight across the northwest Bahamas. 81 in Freeport, 82 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Alistown, Bimini, 86. We pick up 83 in Great Harbor Key. Pair of 84s, Nicholtown, Andros, and in Governor's Harbor. Central Bahamas, 85. Kemps Bay, Arthurstown, Cat Island, and Georgetown, Deadman's Key. Coburn Down, San Salvador, 79. Southeast Bahamas, mid-80s there. 85 is Duncantown, Ragged Island, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Delectable Bay, and in Abrahams Bay. Matthew Down, Inagua, 86, and our neighbors in Southeast Turks and Caicos Islands, you guys are currently 87 at this hour. Satellite and radar composite showing a lot of moisture associated with a low-pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico. There's also a frontal boundary across South Florida that's trapping that moisture across us. So we saw a lot of showers and isolated thunderstorms across the northwest Bahamas, even some in the central Bahamas. We will continue that trend tonight as that frontal boundary lifts towards the north and drags a lot of that moisture. There's a low pressure system, as I mentioned, in the Gulf. That's going to slide across Florida by the weekend. So we're looking for some more showers in the forecast through that period. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us to look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, we are learning that police promotions are expected by year's end. And Work in Progress is back tonight. Find out the new road signs coming to your community. And Girls' Day Out taking on a new meaning this morning as Straw Inc. Center for Young Women celebrates the International Day of the Girl when Our News returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending.
Police officers that meet the requirements can expect promotions by the end of the year. That's according to Police Commissioner Clayton Fernandez. The last we heard of promotions for the force was last year when Fernandez said the exercise would happen before the end of that year. While appearing as a guest on the record with host Jerome Sawyer last year, he assured that the promotions will not be political. The commissioner said today the promotions may even roll out before Christmas.
It's well on the way, and officers can assure that they will get their just reward at the end of the day.
By the end of the year? Do you think
Yes, before. Sure, trust me. It's before the end of the year, it will be released.
Well, motorists can expect to see new roadside signs soon. That's according to an official from the sign department in the Ministry of Works. In tonight's Work in Progress segment, Berthany McDermott tells us which signs will be going up first.
The sign department in the Ministry of Works handles roadside signage throughout the Bahamas. Their office is now under construction, and according to the department superintendent, there are a few areas that are top priority.
One of the signs that we're really looking forward to bringing out is the sign that tells people when to make that left turn on red. There's some corners that will be no red, no left turn on red, and then there'll be some corners that tell you you can make that left turn. A lot of people are still making that turn when there's no sign.
It's been a challenge for many motorists who weren't clear on when to make that left turn. Back in 2019, the former administration passed the Road Traffic Amendment Regulations, Among other things, the regulation allows motorists to turn left at some red lights. Moxie also speaks to challenges faced by the department. Topping the list is vandalism and motorists running over the signs.
Every time you knock out a sign, it costs the Bahamian people a lot of money. And then we're trying to replace them. We were challenged during the pandemic getting materials in.
The department has since stocked up on materials for roadside signage. He says private contractors have been hired to install the new signs.
In a short while, you will see a lot of signs being put up. But for right now, we're just in the final stages of being able to implement all of that.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as U.S. President Joe Biden in talks with Israel as the U.S. monitors the ongoing terrorist situation. Plus, remaining debris from the exploded Titan submersible has been found. And a former Haitian senator pleads guilty in a U.S. court in connection with the former president's assassination. The details when Our News returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Israeli airstrikes have displaced more than 260,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The UN Humanitarian Office confirming as much. Fears are mounting that the number of displaced Palestinians in Gaza will increase amid continuing attacks and Hamas rocket fire. The situation escalated in the Gaza Strip following an attack by Palestinian group Hamas on Israeli towns near the seaside territory. Israel retaliated with massive airstrikes in Gaza and placed the enclave under total blockade. U.S. President Joe Biden said today the U.S. is continuing to monitor the situation in Israel.
There is no justification for terrorism, no excuse, and the type of terrorism that was exhibited here was just beyond the pale, beyond the pale. As I said yesterday, my commitment to Israel's security and the safety of the Jewish people is unshakable. The United States has Israel's back, and we're going to be working on this all through today and beyond.
The United States Coast Guard says engineers have recovered the rest of the debris and presumed human remains from the Titan submersible, which imploded on an ill-fated trip to the Titanic. The craft was destroyed during a dive to the shipwreck in June. All 5 passengers on board were killed. The search for the sub sparked an international hunt and gripped public attention until the first debris was found several days later. Coast Guard officials said on Tuesday that the additional parts of the craft were recovered from the seafloor last week and taken to a U.S. port. Medical officials are expected to analyze the human remains. And now to the region, as Kenya's deputy president is defending the country's police after criticism about their planned deployment to quell gang violence in Haiti. Government says that Kenya's police have a very good track record across the world, though it was not clear what mission government was referring to. Several human rights organizations, both in Kenya and internationally, have expressed worries that the police could export their human rights abuses to Haiti.
Humanitarian workers say insecurity makes their work very difficult and in some cases even impossible. It is very challenging for them to access 6 of the department's 17 communes, which are also cholera hotspots.
And finally, a former Haitian senator pleaded guilty on Tuesday in the United States to charges related to the 2021 assassination of former President Jovenel Moïse. John Joel Joseph made his appearance at a Miami federal court and changed his plea after reaching an agreement with the government. Federal Judge Jose Martinez set his sentencing for December 19th. Joseph faces a possible life sentence, but the U.S. government would recommend reducing it if he cooperates with the investigation. That's according to the 11th page plea agreement. Now, the former senator was extradited from Jamaica to the U.S. in June to face charges of conspiring to commit murder or kidnapping outside the U.S. and providing material support resulting in death, knowing or intending that such material support would be used to prepare for or carry out the conspiracy to kill or kidnap. Still to come in our news today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was October 11th. Then in our news at 7:30, Social Services Minister Obi Wilchcomb is remembered ahead of his state funeral tomorrow. Plus, a fire victim shares his story. He tells our news there's still a lot to give God thanks for. When our news returns.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family.
Welcome back to our news. It's time now to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was October 11th. On this day in Bahamian history in 1492, Rodrigo de Triana, one of the men who sailed with Christopher Columbus on his voyage to India, spotted land from the ship La Nina. The Historical Society notes the next day, Columbus would go ashore on an island the Lucayans called Guanahani, now known as San Salvador. The photo on your screen shows a replica of the Nina. Then fast forward to 2006, when then Atlanta's chief executive and resort developer Howard Butch Kerzner died in a helicopter crash in the Dominican Republic. Kerzner was the son of the late Solomon Kerzner, who financed and developed the resort on Paradise Island. In 2013, the National Heroes Act 2007 came into force, replacing the day that was previously celebrated as Columbus Day, later as Discovery Day, and now as National Heroes Day. Then in 2020, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of positive cases surpassed 5,000. The Ministry of Health reported an additional 68 cases, pushing the total number to 5,023. Of that number, 2,070 cases were considered active, while 112 people remained in hospital. At the time, there were only 106 deaths recorded. And finally, in 2021, days after a man hacked away at the Columbus statue at Government House with a sledgehammer, shattering the arm and right leg, Prime Minister Philip Davis condemned the actions of the man who was later arrested.
I'm always concerned when I see acts of disobedience that results in destruction of public property. Whatever the historical significance and the protests that has come from it in respect to Columbus' presence or encounter with the Bahamas, that's one issue. In fact, I sympathize and empathize with some of the voices that are speaking to the fact of not rewriting, but realigning history so that its true facts are revealed and interpreted.
All right, well, Girls' Day Out, taking on a new meaning this morning as Straw Inc. Center for Young Women hosted the 11th International Day of the Girl. Topics such as Our Time is Now, Our Rights, Our Future, presented by the Prime Minister's wife, and Decisions That Make God Proud and Make Me Happy by Reverend Dr. Diana Francis. They were just two of several topics discussed at the session held for 6th grade students. Executive Director Tarina Cunningham says the organization works with young girls as they navigate the many challenges they encounter.
A lot of young women are dealing with molestation. They're dealing with issues where they don't feel safe. They don't feel that their voices count. They're not taken seriously. We're also getting a vast amount of peer pressure, not just only from peers, but I should say pressure in itself. Academic pressure, social pressure, a pressure to not just feel beautiful, to be beautiful, whether it means that they move beyond their skin of just being young women. We want our young girls to realize that they're girls. And so I'm seeing here today where, yes, a lot of things are happening in our community, but for us as community leaders, for us as adults, and for us as women, we're supposed to pass along the baton to make certain that our young women, they can take their rightful spots, and then when they move and transition into young adulthood, that they feel better and stronger within themselves.
Wife of the Prime Minister, Anne-Marie Davis, sharing valuable information under the United Nations theme of Invest in Girls' Rights, Our Leadership, Our Well-Being. To that end, she says there is no health without mental health. Referencing the increased suicide attempts by teens in recent weeks, she taught the students a new term, bullycide, while also challenging them to stand up for what is right.
Young people are choosing to commit bullycide. Bullycide means they're taking their own lives because they're being bullied. This is a big task, but I want to challenge you today, okay? Make a group, small numbers, and go and fight. Go and talk to your guidance counselor, your teachers, your principal, and tell them what you see happening, what you see, the bullying.
All right, great message there. Now to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, you can visit ournews.bs. It's going to do it for us in News at 7. Joining us now is Italia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. Italia, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Ken. Thanks so much. Well, Social Services Minister Obi Wilchcomb is remembered ahead of his state funeral tomorrow. Plus, a fire victim shares his story. Here are your latest headlines. can never be replaced. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, colleagues, family, and friends gathering in the Capitol to memorialize former Social Services, Information, and Broadcasting Minister Obi Wilchcomb. Plus, a former PLP cabinet minister's name has been circulating as a potential candidate to fill the West Grand Bahama and Bimini seat. Residents are reacting. Also, hear why the St. Anne's Member of Parliament says they have issues with potential plans to establish a seaplane operation in Montague Bay. And later,
a home that's been damaged, a fiance that's in the hospital. Despite all of this, it's a grateful spirit that abounds at this Stapleton Gardens home. For more on this, stay tuned to Our News Tonight.
Our News Live at 7:30 is back in a moment.
Discovering the news.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
Favorite Bahamian artist of all time? I'll give you some time to think about it.
The greatest Bahamian song was recorded by the beginning of the end, Funky Nassau.
We're in a day and age where things can be different and still be authentically Bahamian because it's the Bahamian people bringing it to you.
Junkin was like the heart and soul of the Bahamian culture.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
We are just hours away from the state funeral of Social Services, Broadcasting, and Information Minister Obi Wilchcomb. Today, employees of his ministry and the Ministry of Tourism, where he served 2 terms as minister, held a memorial in his honor. All this while his body lie in state today in the foyer of the House of Assembly. At this hour, Bay Street expected to be closed to traffic as Jonconers prepare for a rush out in his honor. Motorists can also expect Bay Street to be closed from 9:30 to 10:30 Thursday morning ahead of the state funeral, and again at 1 p.m. until the completion of the last post in Rawson Square. Here's a quick snapshot of tomorrow's service. At 10 a.m., the firing and mourning party from the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force bands, the gun carriage, and the bearers party are expected to be in place on Bank Lane. The immediate family, who are expected to assemble at the courtyard by Marriott on West Bay Street, will then leave for the House of Assembly, where they will view the remains of the deceased and thereafter proceed to the procession. Senior members of government and at the judiciary level will thereafter take their positions in procession of Wilchcomb's body to Christchurch Cathedral. Now, Our News will be on the ground providing you up-to-the-minute coverage. Be sure and stay tuned to Our News Bahamas on Facebook for that, and Our News beginning at 7 p.m. for a recap of the state funeral. Welcome to Our News, and thank you for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. During his political career, the late minister served in many ministries, including social services and urban development, information and broadcasting, and tourism. And today, they all came together to memorialize a man who they say can never be replaced. Jamila Mizik reports.
It was a celebration of life filled with songs and tributes as those who knew and loved Obi Wilchcomb gathered to pay their final respects. There were reflections on Wilchcombe's life as a proud graduate of Queen's College class of 1975, and then there were memories of his later life when he served as Minister of Tourism. In an emotional tribute, former colleague Lisa Ramming fought to hold back tears as she reflected on her relationship with Wilchcombe, who she worked closely with in the Ministry for Social Services and Urban Development.
He helped me to navigate through plenty silent battles that I shared with him during this political journey.
Now, while he served in many roles during his lifetime, one he will always be remembered for is his contribution to broadcasting. Among those paying tribute was former colleague and friend Carlton Smith.
While people were concerned about what your politics was, that wasn't important for O.B. Wilchcombe. I was always apolitical, and many people had difficulties with that, but he never did. He was willing to give me opportunities based on my ability when other people were looking at my politics.
And as those from all walks of his life came together to honor the late O.B. Wilchcombe, the message was clear. One love, the legacy continues. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Missick.
All right, thanks so much for that, Jamila. Well, O.B. Wilchcombe's death was a major blow for the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency. Since his passing, the question has been asked who will fill his shoes. A former PLP cabinet minister's name has been circulating as a potential candidate. But what are residents saying? We have their reactions.
I see a couple of them being through here, but I haven't seen Shane Gibson yet. Well, I know that's a good man.
Questions continue to swirl around who will be next in line to represent the people of West Grand Bahama and Bimini. One of the names making the rounds is former PLP cabinet minister Shane Gibson. Last week, Our News obtained letters from constituency chairmen saying they wanted Gibson to be their representative, but the party has confirmed that the selection process has not yet started. These residents say the next person at the helm will have to be for the people.
I don't know who's running, the Shane Gibson person, I don't know him, so he'll have to be more in the community, and he can't just come and slap up. That's what the young people say, slapping up. We ain't want no slapping up.
You know, whether Shane Gibson or another person for the PLP, I think we should stick with the PLP until the 3 years are over.
Well, I never see nothing wrong with Shane. I think he's a beautiful fella. He's a good politician.
If he be nominated, I think he'll be a good person to lead because he's a seasoned person, and I think he understands more about people because in his constitution that where he was before, I think people can speak well of him as well.
Some say they've seen some familiar faces in the community.
I guess it's up to the Prime Minister. You have to find the right person to send, even like you mentioned, and a lot of people speaking about Shane Gibson, but, there's one or two other people, who could really give him a push for the seat now.
As for who Pinder thinks can give Gibson a push for the seat,
I don't want to call no names right now, but we know who they are, and if they really, I'm sure they name in the hat, they could really cause some, I think they could cause some, problem for Shane. But Shane is he's a good fellow for the job, experience-wise and financially. I think he have the upper hand on the rest of the guys,
All right, a judge has given accused murder conspirator Lindsay Shiver permission to change her address following a break-in at her rented condo. Shiver's lawyers sought a bail variation before Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson after persons unknown broke into her condo between October 5th and 6th and took jewelry and other items with a total value of $20,500. Now, Shiver is accused of plotting the murder of her estranged husband Robert Shiver with two Abaco men, her boyfriend Terrence Bethel and his friend Farron Newbold Jr. Shiver is free on a $100,000 bail, and her alleged conspirators are each on a $20,000 bail. The murder conspiracy allegedly took place in Abaco on July 16. The morning after, Eastern New Providence residents rejected Atlanta's plans to establish a seaplane operation in Montague Bay, St. Anne's MP Adrian White says it's not the business plan they have a problem with, it's the location. The plan is for a ferry boat to transport passengers between the floating platform and an existing dock at the Atlantis Marina. The floating platform would be positioned in Montague Bay for passengers to get on and off, and flights would take guests to swim in pigs tours, Spanish Wells, Eleuthera, and Kamalamiki. White explaining why his constituents can't support the project.
Right in front of Montague Beach, you have a lot of persons that use the beach as a private, peaceful area, but more importantly is the hundreds of children that go through from the public school system and through private school systems, learn to sail, have an opportunity to gain the teamwork skills, discipline skills. Putting an airstrip for a seaplane in that place would be the same as putting an airstrip on top of a school.
White says he doesn't believe Atlantis should axe their plans, but simply adjust them by finding an alternative location not in the Montague area. Tourism Minister Chester Cooper was also asked to weigh in on the issue. Cooper says he's hoping for a mutually beneficial solution.
The developers and the business persons no doubt have a plan that will add value to the tourism product, but there's a way to find a win-win. And if that win-win can be found elsewhere where there's less impact on the Bahamian people, and that is the objective of the consultation. So I'm pleased that democracy is working very well.
The work week off to a rainy start, but we saw some sun today around the islands. Wondering what else we can expect? Well, meteorologist Greg Thompson is live in the Weather Center with a first look at weather. Greg, nice to have you back.
Thanks, it's good to be back. Short vacation, but was needed.
Good.
Yeah, the central and southeast Bahamas really seeing most of the sunshine. Northwest Bahamas, a little more moisture across that area, and that's keeping us partly cloudy to cloudy. 84 degrees outside our studios right now. Winds out of the west-southwest at 6 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature is at 88. Satellite and radar composite showing most of that moisture, as I mentioned, stretching across the northwest Bahamas, emanating actually from out of the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean, all associated with a frontal boundary. Rather diffuse one, but it's going to back up towards the north as a warm front. So it's going to keep us in a cloudy to unsettled weather pattern across mostly the northwest Bahamas. Some clearing by the weekend, but we do expect a frontal boundary to push in by the early part of next week. So we could see some more clearing later on and some good temperatures for early next week. That's your quick check on weather conditions around the island. Stick with us, a look at your extended forecast and the tropics still to come.
Still to come on our news, picking up the pieces. A fire victim is telling his story tonight after his kitchen went up in flames. Plus, the Bahama Resort Foundation making a big donation to the Bahamas Red Cross. When our news returns, stay with us.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
A Stapleton Gardens homeowner is grateful tonight after a stove exploded in his home, nearly taking the life of his fiancée. Our Joshua Williams has the story.
This is how Earl Johnson's kitchen once looked, and this is how it looks today, after his stove exploded while his fiancée Philippa Christie was cooking for their children last week. Police say the incident happened on October 5th at the home on Oxford Avenue in Stapleton Gardens. Johnson, who is the homeowner, says he was off the island when he got the news.
And I got a phone call from my cousin Lovato Johnson. He was in Eleuthera at the time. He said, "Cuz I think your house on the news." I say, "For what?" He said, "Man, he say your house on fire." And I couldn't believe it. Right after that, she called, and she was very hysterical, and I could see the scald marks and things all over her face, and I could hear the children in the background. And
Johnson says neighbors had to breach the door to help.
They heard a loud boom, and they saw birds and things just fly out of the yard. And he said he saw when the puff of smoke went into there, and he said he heard my son to the door crying, and he came and he bust a hole in the screen. And he opened the door, he accessed the door, and he went inside, and they started to assist.
Today, this rubble remains piled in the backyard as Johnson continues to pick up the pieces. He says his fiancée is still in the hospital.
We could spare some time. The young lady in desperate need of blood, please go and donate some blood for her, please. Her name is Philippa Christie. She's an intensive care unit.
In the midst of tragedy, Johnson is grateful for the support he's received from his community.
I had numerous calls, people pouring out to step in. So I need help. I will make sure and get to them, but my community got me covered so serious. It's like a halo. I talk about a halo over this house right now, not over me. I talk about a halo.
Johnson says this latest hurdle will not hold him back.
You gotta remember one thing: a plane don't take off with the wind. A plane is take off against the wind. That's how it's get into the air. You understand? So just the trials and tribulations I going through now. Understand, it's that plane on the runway, but I can get in there.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
All right, great inspiration. Thanks for that, Josh. Well, a turn of good fortune. The Bahamas Red Cross did not have much time to worry as the Baha Mar Resort Foundation donated over $100,000 to the organization less than 24 hours after it was robbed of approximately $77,000 worth of equipment. The organization has helped countless residents over the years, providing relief and assistance, especially during times of disaster. Baha Mar Senior Vice President Robert Sands says the donation will assist to do just that.
The funds donated will aid in the replacement of the items stolen earlier this week, but more importantly, support the Red Cross in additional areas of need. This assistance is imperative for disaster relief and general support to members of the community, especially during the hurricane season.
For Bahamas Red Cross President Edison Sumner, the donation could not come at a better time, as the funds will also assist in putting meals on the tables of the less fortunate.
Any excess funding certainly will be put to very good use to support the ongoing work of the Red Cross, our various programs and initiatives, particularly with our feeding program, where we're feeding as many as 200 families on a daily basis in this country. And also towards our monthly Meals on Wheels program, where we're feeding almost as many families with food parcels on a monthly basis.
Our Rec Homes helps one of their own prepare for the Olympics, and the UB Mingos wrap up the One Caribbean softball tournament. Don't go anywhere. Our Sports is coming up next.
Cloudy skies outside the Our News studios this evening. What else can we expect for the rest of the work week? We will have more weather details in the extended forecast when Our News returns.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Arawak Homes helps an Olympic hopeful prepare for Paris, and the Mingos wrap up a softball tournament. Here's Tej Adderley with a check on sports.
Thanks, Tatia. Good evening. I'm Tej Adderley here to get you over the hump with some sports. Arawak Homes announced yesterday that one of their employees is trying to go to the Olympics in Paris next year. They're going to help him get there.
Since he joined, it really took a team effort for us to continue to support, go on during his tenure. And so I wish to start by thanking all of his co-workers, because what we learned is when you're training at that level, there are certain meets that you have to go to, there are certain times that you have to train.
That's Frannon Wilson, president of Arawak Homes Limited. Wilson announced in a press conference yesterday that the company will sponsor triple jumper and site supervisor Kaiwan Culmer in his bid to go to Paris in 2024. Culmer's co-workers will also step in to fill in the gaps as the company has approved the leave of absence for him. BAAA's president, Jermico Archer, lauded the company's sponsorship.
For a company to recognize how profound that sacrifice is, and for people to appreciate the depth of that sacrifice, to set aside one's capacity to make money, all for the glory of track and field and for the glory of our country.
Moving on to some softball, the Mingo softball team wrapped up the One Caribbean tournament. The UB Mingos softball team wrapped up the One Caribbean tournament, coming in 4th place overall. The Mingos beat Club Fusion 11-6 on Saturday to advance to the bronze medal game, where they fell to the Sunshine Auto Wildcats 17-2. Here's Coach Shane Aubrey's thoughts on the tournament.
We made tons of errors on our infield, our outfield, whether it be physical errors by not fielding a ball, throwing the ball, bad throws, or mental errors.
Before we go, Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty play the Las Vegas Aces in Game 2 of the WNBA Finals tonight. Be sure to watch our socials for the latest from that game. That'll do it for sports today. I'm Tej Adderley.
Any more heavy rain showers this week? We will tell you what you can expect in the extended weather forecast coming up when our news continues.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Don't spend hours sending individual messages to your customers. Use SMS messaging instead. With Cable Bahamas Business Solutions SMS messaging, you can send personalized messages to hundreds or even thousands of recipients instantly. It's quick, effortless, and cost-effective. Plus, it ensures that your messages are delivered directly to your customers' cellular phones, guaranteeing higher engagement. Save time and boost your outreach with SMS bulk messaging. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually
Welcome back to our news. A cool evening outside the Our News studios. Can we expect any more rain in the forecast? Well, Greg is back in the Weather Center live with your extended weather. Greg, what can we expect?
Yeah, more rain in the forecast. We do have a frontal boundary stationary across the extreme northwest Bahamas, South Florida. Talk about that in a few, but we will take a first look at the tropics. We have two systems out there that we're going to continue to monitor. First, just off the African coast, disorganized showers and isolated thunderstorms with a disturbance moving off of Africa. That's going to continue to move towards the west. National Hurricane Center giving that a 20% chance for formation as it continues to pull away from the African coast. A couple of more tropical waves coming off there. We will continue to watch that. And then, of course, we have this system out there. This is, well, that's the S letter, Sean. It's basically a tropical storm. It's going to continue to move towards the west-northwest at around 13 miles per hour, 40 mile per hour winds. Will weaken as it pulls towards the west. By the end of the weekend and into early next week, this system is expected to become a depression or possibly even a remnant low. And with most of the activity staying in the open Atlantic will not pose a problem for us. Closer to home, we have that low pressure system developing in the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of moisture across the area that will continue to generate some showers for the remainder of the weekend into the weekend. And then we expect the frontal boundary to be pulling in here sometime early next week. So we're looking for some improving conditions by that time. That system out there, time frame October 13th to 16th for formation, but once again, not really expecting much with that system. Boating conditions for the Northwest Bahamas, caution flag posted for you guys tonight through tomorrow. Winds will start off southeast to south 10 to 15 knots, becoming south to southwest at 15 knots tomorrow. Seas running 3 to 5 feet. High tide was at 6:37. Your low tide will be at 12:56 in the morning for the southeast and central Bahamas. Southeast to south flow 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, we'll keep moisture in the forecast throughout the remainder of the weekend into the weekend. And once again, as I mentioned, by early next week, we expect a front. Look at those temperatures. They will take a dip. They should be in the low to mid 80s. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much, Greg. And thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.